welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Nikita Lambert, and I'm happy to have you here. So today, I want to talk about what it was like to experience my narcissistic mother dying. So I recently made a post on Instagram. It was a reel, and it was just talking about, different questions people ask me about having a narcissistic mom, and people will often ask me, do you still talk to her, or have you gone no contact? And then I say, well, she's dead. And in the reel, I said, I'm dead, and she's dead, and I'm free. And then people might ask, well, don't you feel bad for saying that? And my response was, do I look like I feel bad? And so it's been really cool to see a lot of people who that message resonates with. And a lot of people are like, oh my God, I can't wait for my mom to die. And I feel like you really only understand this if you had an abusive parent, whether physically or emotionally. Because it just sounds so countercultural. It sounds evil to say, honestly. Like, oh, I can't wait for her to die, or oh, I'm glad she's dead. But I mean, when this person put you through hell and made you question your own sanity and your own self-worth, and they're so good at manipulating you and bringing you back into their grasp, it really is a relief when they're gone. But I did want to talk about how complicated it is, right? So for me, I was 25 or 26 when my mom died, and she had been sick for a while, but in true narcissistic fashion, she used that as leverage and manipulation, and she would never say what was wrong with her. She would never say what the doctors were telling her or anything, because for a few years she had been losing weight and not looking so good, and I would ask, what's going on? Are you okay? What are the doctors saying? Nothing, Nikita. Everything's fine. Nothing. Just mind your business, or things like that. Or she would say, I don't know. Okay, whatever. So I'm still not entirely sure. I've been told a couple of times by family members, but maybe I don't remember it because I don't really buy it. I don't know. So I'm not exactly sure what caused it. I just know she was very sick. So I get a call. No, my husband gets a call from my aunt one morning, very early, while I'm getting ready for work. And she's like, are you on speakerphone? And I can't remember if he was or wasn't. That's really irrelevant. But anyway, he goes downstairs to talk to her. And so, first of all, she hardly ever calls. Second of all, she never calls my husband. So as he's downstairs, I'm thinking to myself, okay, either my mom is dead or she has taken a turn for the worse. Because I've lost a few people close to me, and you usually get that phone call like, hey, you need to come in town. It's not looking good. So I'm thinking it was that. Either she's dead or it's going south. But, you don't really think it's going to be she's dead. But he comes back up. He's like, hey, sit down. And I'm like, And when you're raised by a narcissist and you're not really allowed to feel your feelings. So I'm not really in tune. I'm just kind of like, please stop with the dramatic and just tell me the bad news. Just tell me what it is. I'm like, okay, let me sit down. And so he tells me that she has passed away. And honestly, I chuckled. And I think it was more one of those disbeliefs. This is crazy. What? So, and I think he had already called my boss, because my boss at the time was his mom. And she was like, you don't have to come in. But I had some important documents in my possession that if an inspector were to come in and those documents weren't there, we would have been in major trouble. So I was like, I'm going to work. I have these documents. The inspector's not going to care that my mom is dead. I just need to go. It's fine. And so everybody grieves in different ways. Did I shed a tear on the way to work? Maybe one or two. And then maybe I shed a couple while I was at work, but only because someone asked me if I was okay and made me think about it. That really broke down crying because it became very real that she wasn't here anymore. And so, mind you, for a while, I had been kind of wishing for her to die, and I felt really bad about it, but she was just so dramatic and manipulative over her illness, and like always trying to get people to do things, making people feel bad for different things, just making things up. It was awful. My father was her caretaker, and honestly, they were separated, but my dad is a good man, and he didn't want her to just be anywhere, so he had her move back in with him so he could take care of her. Hired an in-home like caretaker, but she would refuse help from the caretaker and make my dad do things, like refuse to cooperate unless it was my dad who was doing it. So just those kinds of things, very manipulative. And okay, where was I going with this? So wow, I really lost my train of thought. Anyway, yeah. Where was I, guys? Well, we're just gonna move on. So I'm crying and feeling like, why am I sad? I should be relieved. Oh yes, because I had wanted her to die for a while, because I was just ready for this turmoil to be over. Like, this drama needs to be over. The worry needs to be over. I'm tired of being yanked back and forth. But then when she died, I was like, oh my God, she's really gone. And I think what made it so complicated was because even though I had accepted her for who she was, and I don't think I knew she was a narcissist at the time. I didn't know about the whole world and realm of narcissism. But I knew my mother. So I accepted her for who she was, and I knew things weren't really going to change. But when she died, it, no pun intended, put the nail in the coffin. It was really done. Like, wow, it really never got better. And I remember telling my husband, it's like she was evil and then she died. Like, it just never got better. Like, you would hope there would be an apology one day or some reconciliation or an understanding, but never. And I think what was hard is I thought I had no hope left. Like, I thought I was at a place of sober judgment and I understood what was going on and I knew who my mom was and this was just it and I had accepted it. But when she died, I felt like my last bit of hope die with it. And I didn't even know that there was any hope there until it was taken away. Like, wow, it just really never got better. And so that was what made it so complicated. Like, it was just all this unfinished business. And really it was finished because it was never going to get any better. But yeah, that's what made it complicated, because it's like, I'm happy you're gone, but I'm sad. Like, I really, really never got to know a mother's love. I never got to know that. And that sucks. That's hard to accept, but it just is what it is. So, I'll do other videos on, different times where grief had resurfaced, like when I was pregnant or when I first had my son, or different life achievements and things like that. But that's it overall. Like, yes, it is such a relief. Like, even as I tell people, when the dust settles, there is sweet freedom. So even in the beginning, like while I'm sad, there's like this hesitant relief, like, oh my God, it's over. But I can't fully enjoy that because I'm sad that, my hope just died. But as those emotions kind of subside and you move on and you level out and things like that, you get to really enjoy freedom and owning your own life and not being made to feel bad and not being gaslit, at least by that person. There might be other toxic people in your life, but again, another story for another day. But anyway, so that's that. That is the story of my complicated grief with my mom in a nutshell. So if you have Any questions or anything that you can relate to, feel free to leave it in the comments. If you want to hear more, like this video, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. All right, have a great day.